Morning guys, today we return to the scene of my first ever fell race from back in 2017. It's up at Castleton on the North York Moors and it's 9 miles of rugged, heathery heaven. You guys are coming with me because I've got the Insta 360 Go 2, that way you get to see the race through my eyes. But today's video is really all about what makes the sport so unique and so authentic and why I love it so much. But we'll cover all of that from the moors because the race starts at 10:30, so we really need to get moving.
These skies have a different light, why noise that keeps me up at night. I can't help but think back to you. I wish that I could find a face that I would recognize. I replay the memory of you. It's been hard, you know I wanted to stay, caught us off guard, but there was no other way. Did you wait?
I remember that first fell race like it was yesterday. A complete noob, having only done trail running before, I took the whole thing for granted. We'd had quite a bit of snow in the week leading up to the race and it melted to form waterfalls throughout the route. I was frozen and wet within seconds, and wading up that first climb, I went over into my first icy cold puddle. Came out of it like something out of Baywatch, only less attractive, but that wasn't it. I had about another 3 or 4 falls within the race and vowed never to do a fell race ever again. We finished 6th that day, and of course 2 weeks later I was back on another start line. Now this all may sound pretty awful, but for me these are the richest and best memories. If my dancing career taught me anything, it's that the best moments in life come from hard work and adversity. We're just not hardwired as humans to look for these things. We want security, safety and warmth. Right now I'm pretty cold and a hot tea sounds lovely, but I wouldn't remember that in a few years' time. And isn't that what life's all about? Forming memories to take away with us. But it isn't just the challenge and competition that I crave. Fell running is such a simple, community-orientated sport. There's no big sponsors, no massive prize money. Hell, you're even lucky if the course is marked. A few hundred runners turn up at a village hall or pub, register, and the first one back wins a bottle of wine for the troubles. And I just love how pure and honest the whole experience is. Anyway guys, the race will be starting soon, so I'd better get on. But let's have a quick talk about gear as well. We'll do this from the car because it started hauling it down and it's freezing. So I had my breakfast, which was porridge and some blueberries and raspberries at 6:30, which means I'll need a little bit of an energy boost because the race is at 10:30. I'm going to have one of these Lucho Delitos energy blocks in just a second. I'm also taking with me for the race a Mountain Fuel Sports Jelly, just to give me a bit of the boost in case I need it. Got a little bit of water, which is going to be stored in this Montane pack. All my mandatory kit is in there as well. As for shoe choice, we've gone with the VJ iRock. It's about the only shoe I trust in these conditions, which is wet, slippery, and yeah, it means I can race hard when I want to. And as for how we're going to race, it's only a training run, guys, so it's going to be a good solid tempo effort and we'll just see how the race unfolds. But regardless, it's going to hurt because these races always do. Right, it's almost go time.
A couple of years ago, the race saved the person, an old guy who'd gone up to his waist in a bog over at Hob Hole, and if we hadn't have had the race, he would not have, we don't think he would have made it, because it was only because of the race he was found.
With the race underway, Harry Holmes and Lee Kemp were soon out of sight. These guys are at a whole other level, they can compete at the very top. Steve Donaldson was followed shortly behind in 3rd, then there was a cluster of runners from 4th to 8th, which included myself at the back of the pack, sizing the field up. Soon became apparent this was going to be my race, and Tim Grimwood, currently in 4th, was in my sights. The course was a real mix of bogs, rock, open heather and hard packed trail. Due to the heavy rain we'd had, a lot of standing water, so my feet were soaked inside the first 2 miles. This made for really difficult running conditions. You couldn't spot your feet and energy was getting sapped with every step. The moors threw everything it had at us on the weather front. It's got its own eco-climate up there, which made for really interesting descending. At around halfway, I caught up with Tim in 4th. We began to pull away from the pack and I was feeling really good at this point. We exchanged places a couple of times and we started to size each other up. Tim was solid on the climbs, but I had the edge on descending. He did well on the boggy stuff, whereas I was better on the hard packed. About halfway through the race, I took on a Mountain Fuel energy gel. I could just feel my legs starting to wane a little bit and I thought the energy would do me well toward the end of the race. 6th place had caught back up with me and Tim by now, so it was a 3-horse race for 4th. Around mile 6, I recognised an opportunity to take 4th on, so I accelerated away. I then realised the others had turned off right 10 seconds earlier, so I had to retrace my steps and play catch up. I was now in 6th place, so I took a few risks on the next descent and it paid off. I overtook 5th, caught back up with Tim, and we were neck and neck next to each other, and I decided to make my move. This was on a long climb up a tarmac road, and as mentioned before, Tim was showing stronger legs on the climbing side. This is what I love about fell running, especially a course like the Eskdale Eureka where it's so varied. Unfortunately, didn't work in my favour this time. I think Tim recognised that my legs were starting to wane. He overtook me and opened up a gap. By the time we browed the next hill, he had 10 seconds on me. And approaching the cricket club before the next big descent, I had a lot to do if I was going to catch up with him, but in all reality, my legs were sapped and I was starting to look behind, hoping not to lose 5th. As we started on the descent into the cricket club, I soon realised that I was actually gaining on Tim bit by bit, so I put everything I had into that last descent and made sure there was nothing left in the tank. It was just a question of whether I'd left myself too much to do. Yes, sod. Yeah, well done.
Good running, mate. I thought you got me there. When you went past me on that, mate.
Well done, mate. There you have it, guys. We had to settle for 5th place in the end. I was literally 3 seconds behind Tim, so a bit gutted that we couldn't make that up, but it's where we are in training right now. We actually knocked more than a minute off the time of 2019 and 9 minutes off the time the first year I ever did the race, so it's all progression, and with where I am after the injury, it's probably to be expected. Such a well-organised event as always, so thank you to everyone who was involved on that side. Really happy with the Eureka Fell Race shoes. They were brilliant on every type of terrain. The Lucha Delitos worked well before the race. The Mountain Fuel definitely gave me a bit of an energy burst towards the end, probably why I tried to take on Tim at the wrong time in the race. And there's a lot of lessons there to learn. I know that I need to work on my climbing once we get past this speed stage, and I didn't really realise that I was going to struggle in the mud, so maybe a little bit more strength work to do there as well. This video was made for 2 reasons. First of all, because I wanted to share with you something that I really do enjoy, and secondly, to give you guys a view of what fell racing actually is, because there's so few videos out there actually showing it, and I think if those who stick to trail alone gave it a chance, they'd become a much better all-rounded runner. Right guys, traditional fell race for you over, and I'll catch you all with the next one. Thanks a lot for following along. See you later.